If you're in the market for a hybrid crossover and you're not considering the Haval Jolion HEV, well, let me tell you now, you're kind of missing out. Hey guys, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and what I have for you today is the Haval Jolion. That's from GWM or Great Wall Motors, and the importer is Luxurion. There are actually two versions available of the Jolion. One is the non-hybrid, and this one is the HEV, the hybrid version. Now, GWM is actually no stranger in the Philippine market. They've been here with previous distributors, but back then I would contend that the cars weren't ready yet for export, at least by our standards, especially against the established order of Japanese brands and American brands already in the Philippines. But times have changed. The Chinese automakers are really stepping it up in every which way they can. From design, of course, original designs, interiors, in quality, in the way it drives, and so many more. But most importantly, technology as well. Now, are we going to experience all of those things with the Jolion HEV? Well, in terms of design, you tell me. They do have a lot of chrome, so if you're the person who likes chrome on their vehicle, you like that this waterfall effect grille does have a lot of chrome on each one. But what's unusual here? The headlights. It has projectors here, and it does have this LED strip there as your DRL. But what's really nice here is, well, let me show you. When you unlock the vehicle, right now it's locked. Check out that. That's pretty unique. It's like one of those really flashy light shows that you get. I did not expect that from unlocking the vehicle. So at least if you're in, say, a parking lot and you unlock your vehicle, you'll know exactly where it is. So from that angle, you can see the size of the vehicle. It's a little bit under 4.5 meters long, so it's somewhat compact-ish, maybe a little bit bigger, definitely bigger than many of the subcompacts. But you can see that the way they designed the vehicle, it actually looks good. It's a very clean design. It does have HEV here, again, because hybrid electric vehicle. Again, the vehicle locked itself, but gives me an opportunity to show the light again. But yeah, simple grip type door handles there, nothing really fancy, but the way it closes up is very, very nice. It's also very neatly lined up here, so I know they're paying attention to the quality control of the vehicle. Also, you have this roof rail there. Not sure what you can mount there, but I'm sure there's an aftermarket solution for that. The wheels, these are 18s. The rear door is actually fairly long, so getting in and out is actually quite easy because the wheel arch doesn't protrude so much into the cabin, which is always a good thing. What's clear from the overall design of the vehicle is that GWM was not going for a sharp, edgy design aesthetic. They're really going for more sculpted, more softer curves, which is why you get a lot of things like the rounded thing. It's very different than what we're seeing with a lot of other car makers, and we actually kind of like it, as opposed to everyone having a sharp look, that kind of thing. Anyways, up top we get this little spoiler here. It has this vent. It's not really probably super aerodynamic, but still there it is. Third brake light there, wiper there, a little glass area. The actual glass area is not that big, but when you look at it through the mirror, it's actually okay. And of course, you do have the camera system to compensate for that. You have the Haval really spelled out there, really spaced out. It's actually dominating the rear. Jolion there, HEV, GWM, of course, so many emblems here on the back. It doesn't have the tailpipes, which is good. It does have the chrome strip there. Now let's open the back. It's not a motorized tailgate, but it is gas assisted, of course, to help prop it up. And that's all well and good. It comes with this parcel tray, which is actually very rigid, so you can put stuff on it and you can remove it if you so choose, so you have more space to work with. Let me see if I can rotate this out and pull it back, put it over here, and what you get is a space that is about 31.5 inches long from here to there. The maximum, or at least the minimum width from here to there is about 40 inches, and it's about 51 inches from here to there, and the height from here up to here is around 25. So you don't want to be scuffing this up with packages, because it's like the cream thing, and cream does scuff up very easily. To get the maximum cargo space, what you do is first I have to unlock to open it, and you can fold down the rear seat 60/40 style. This is of course the 40, but what you end up with is a space that is about 58 inches long from here to there. As you can see, it is not a fold flat space, but you know, it's flat-ish, but it's in flat-ish in a different way, because normally this floorboard is lower than that, and that's something unusual. This time it's reversed, so yeah, there you go. As you can see here, it's the fire extinguisher. Don't be alarmed, of course. Even I keep a fire extinguisher in my car, just a little one by the door. For emergencies, you never know when it'll come in handy. What do we have here? This is a first aid kit. I would put in some more stuff there if I'm really gonna do that kind of thing. But what's interesting here is when you open this up, and you'll see why the cargo area here is so high. For one, you have your tire repair kit. This one does not have, this is the compressor. It does not have a spare tire. You have your early warning device, tow bar, and you have the tire repair fluid or the tire patch fluid here. This one is made by, who is it made by? I cannot tell who it's made by. But, oh, there you also have here, this I think is a fuse puller. That's gonna come in handy, well, hopefully not. But you also have here, let me see if I can pull it without breaking it. There you go. You have a 12-volt battery here. And that's because there's not much space in the front for a battery as bulky as this. And then also the battery of the hybrid is actually underneath. So now let's close this up, let's button it up so I can show you what's going on under the hood. Powering the Haval Jolion HEV is a 1.5 liter non-turbo. Yes, non-turbo, we can't see a turbo back there. Non-turbo 1.5 liter gasoline engine. It makes only 94 PS. However, it does come with an electric drive system that makes up basically the majority of the actual power of the vehicle, because together with the electric motor, it gets around 186 horsepower, which is actually plenty for a vehicle of this size. But of course, the benefit of the electric drive system is you get maximum torque at 0 RPM. That is something that's going to be key. So at low city speeds, it's really going to be the advantage of the EV system that you are going to enjoy. But at higher speeds, you're going to be enjoying the benefit of both, because this is a series parallel system with a rather unique transmission, because this one has something called a DHT, or a dedicated hybrid transmission. It's actually a 2-speed unit, which is unusual. We actually see a lot of stickers of the suppliers of the different parts of the vehicle. That's something a lot of Chinese automakers do at their dealerships. They like to, show you all the suppliers that they have. In the case of this one, just off the top of what we can see, I can see Vallejo for the headlights. I can see Bosch for some of the sensors. I can also see Bosch for the ABS unit, also for the Motronic ECU, which is unusual. So this one does use a Bosch Motronic. But what's really unique here is this unit here for the transmission and for the EV system. And we can see that this is not a mild hybrid, this is a full-on hybrid. And you can tell that by looking at the little label down there, because the voltage of this one is 340 volts, hence the presence of high voltage conduits signified by the orange. Of course, the engine bay, nobody really looks at this that much, so it's not really fully painted, still some primer here. But what's really unique here is the strut bar, because now I tell you, some of the cars, they kind of integrate the shock towers with the actual frame of the vehicle to be, more rigid. But in this one, they found the need to put this strut bar here, which is like tubular steel. Very unusual. First off, I'm not a tall guy, so it looks really spacious here for someone of my size, my height. I'm 5'6", so right now, leg room, knee room, it's fantastic. I like the seat. I mean, you sit in it, you don't sink in it like some other Chinese crossovers, but it's just right. Nice view ahead, got a panoramic sunroof there. Light up here, grab handle. If I'm not gonna use this seat and I'm gonna hang a hanger, I can use this hook, but it's a bit trapped in there, so that might not be useful. In terms of the doors, the panels, I mean, this is of course plastic, expected, but it's actually pretty good. It looks really good. It looks like it fits really well together. Door handle, I mean, when you close it, That's pretty good. It's like it's not clunky or anything. It's just a solid thud. That's what you want. Anyway, you got map pocket here, 2 AC vents, 2 USB, the original USB charging ports, not USB-C. There's a little pocket there. The floor of this one is really flat, which is unusual because that tells me they never really made a provision for an all-wheel drive version of this one. So it's a nice place to be. You've got a center armrest here with 2 cup holders. It's got the strap up here, seats, headrest, very comfortable. Haval logo there, finished in the kind of rose gold that they would also use in other parts of the vehicle. So yeah, overall pretty good. But I think what's really nice is what's up in front. The first thing you notice when you step inside the Jolion is how good the interior actually looks, because it's got this black, cream, gray, and this rose gold trim going on. I didn't think it would look good together, but once you're sitting inside here, you know what? It actually really works. It actually makes me wish I wore a different watch that would have matched the rose gold, but nevertheless, you look around, steering wheel is actually fairly large for what the vehicle is. Buttons all over there. You have your controls here in the middle for the transmission. This is a rotary dial control. So you have P to put it into park. You press that. You go to reverse. Sorry, you go there. That's reverse. Of course, the camera comes up. More on that later. Neutral, drive. And then once you're done driving, you can pull the handbrake there. You got your auto brake hold here if you're in traffic. Or you can just press P, and that's all well and good. The screen here, we'll get to this later. Now, going from left to right, we have the door card here. It's very nicely done. It's hard plastic up here, actually all around here. There is some soft touch material on the side, which is good. The switches feel really good. It's one touch up and down, which is nice. There's a tweeter here. This is a 6-speaker system. So 3 speakers on either side, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 on that side. In front of you, you do have a driver display screen instead of traditional analog gauges, which is expected. What I like about it is that right now the door is open, which is why it's kind of switching between one view to another. But the way they laid out everything is very intuitive. I've driven some cars from China where they actually overload you with information with this system. So they have too many letters, too many numbers going on. This one, they spaced it out perfectly, and then they have the icons for the different ADAS features. So you have the lane keep, you have the AEB, you have the rear cross traffic alert, the cruise control right up there. Of course, when you turn on the car, this being a hybrid, it doesn't go to idle, it goes to ready, the ready position. And then now that the engine has cut off, let me show you that. If you can see here, you have the EV icon, which means the engine is off, but you still get the AC because this is a true hybrid, not a mild hybrid. So right now you get the AC even with the engine off, which is good because it has an electrically driven compressor. That's what you want. Now for buttons, what you have here, you have your audio controls on the left side. Usually we find this on the right side, but for some reason on this one it's on the left. So volume up, down. You have your left, right here. One track to the next right here. Your Bluetooth controls right here. On the right side, you have your adaptive cruise control, which is good. The radar cruise control there, you set the distance to the vehicle ahead there. Then you activate it right here, set the usual stuff. Nothing really surprising of note there. Your ignition button is right down here. So yeah, when you press that, ready comes up, which is normal for an HEV. But what I'm really liking is what they did here. Now, this is, of course, your main screen. The resolution is fantastic. And I can't stress that enough. It looks like a really high-quality phablet or tablet, whatever. And then, of course, it has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. This is what Android Auto... Let me try that again. This is what Android Auto looks like on this one, or at least what Waze looks like on this one. And then, so you look at... It's good. And I've been using it for a while now. I really like the way they did the screen. Like you can see there the definition of the letters is very, very good. What's interesting here, you control something called the HUD or heads-up display. And that's actually what this thing is right here. If you notice, there's a little tray here that is not a compartment to put your drink or phone or whatever you may want to store there. That is the heads-up display of the vehicle. Yes, like a fighter jet. So if I look now, I'm not sure if I can show you on camera, but if you look now, I can see the status of the vehicle, the 0 kilometers per hour, the speed. I can see the status of the ADAS right there. It's like, for lack of a better term, if you've ever looked at the reflex sight on a pistol, airsoft, whatever, that's what it kind of looks like, a nice reticle, and you can kind of, yeah. It's very unusual for someone who's new to it, but once you get used to it, it's very intuitive, and you can adjust how high it is, how, the orientation, so on and so forth. What's interesting here is the hybrid system. Now this is your energy flow, where the energy to drive the front wheels is coming from. So right now we're not moving, but you can see here, engine, then there's a motor under there, and then you have the battery. It all kind of changes the flow depending on where the power is coming from to drive the car. What else can we show you? The intelligent driving features, of course. It has the lane assist, the forward assist, the rear side assist. All these features are available in this vehicle. So this is the camera system of the Jolion HEV, and it's very, very interesting because it offers so many views. Now, right now, this is the reverse view. It comes on automatically when you actually, put it into reverse. That's all well and good, but what's nice, you can pick so many different views based on all this. So it's one of those 3D augmented reality types. So you can pick this one, shows you the car. I'm not sure if I don't think I can move that. The front, you can really, it helps you position your car in a parking slot depending on where you want to go, what you want to do. It also gives you the bird's eye view. It gives you that view, gives you that view. It gives you, all kinds of views depending on what you need it for. Right here you have your AC vents. There's a little condensation hazard button there. You have a wireless charging pad right here if you want to put your phone there. So right now I'll put my phone there. Will it charge? I'm not sure if it'll charge with the door open. Nope, right now it won't charge with the door open. But one feature I actually noticed about 5 minutes ago is that this pad you can actually remove. And if you notice, it has a little cutout there, and that is for this. So you can thread through your USB cable and then kind of have it be retained by that. And that means you can run your cable, if you don't want to use a wireless pad, you can run your cable right here and have it be very neatly positioned right there. That's pretty brilliant. I mean, it's a simple feature, but it just makes it so much more functional. You have, let's say, pockets here for, I don't know, something slim like a RFID card. I mean, I have an RFID card right here. So if you want to put it there, that works. But of course, you can clip it up here if you really want. There's another pocket here. Cup holder here, which fits, there's a smaller one, and then there's a bigger one that fits my tumbler, which is nice. Of course, mostly I'll keep it here in the bottle holder here. Compartment here, no, nothing really to write home about there because there are no charging ports in here. It's in the back. Here you've got your glove compartment with, registration papers, and then a little hook here. There's also a tray under here if you want to store some stuff. So yeah, that about does it. When you do look up, then you have your sun visors, both with mirrors and both illuminated. So if you want to do your makeup there or check yourself out, you can. Your door light activation there, and then you have your sunroof controls here. Of course, I won't use it now because we've got stuff mounted there, but it's a panoramic glass roof, but only the front part opens. It does have a sunshade, which kind of rolls in from the back. The problem though is that the heat really does come through it because it's kind of a thin layer of fabric that they have there. So if I was to point out an improvement here, I would like something more solid to kind of block heat if I don't want to have the sunroof open, or at least the sunlight coming in from the top, because it does get pretty warm here in the Philippines. Sunglass holder there though, that would be nice, because especially if you have the glass open, if you really do want to go out on a road trip. Anyways, that about does it. I'm sure there are things that I forgot to mention or was not able to mention, but for now, let's go out and take this for a drive. To be perfectly honest with you, we had low expectations coming into this review, and that stems from our experience of what Haval and Great Wall was before. Because I've driven several examples of their older models, including, I think it was the H9, the Prado-inspired vehicle. And I can tell you that back then, the cars weren't ready yet. Man, how times have changed. Because, you know, like when Geely changed over to the new generation models and started impressing everyone, that's what this kind of represents as well for Great Wall Motor. And you can feel it the moment you drive it around. Actually, the moment you look at it, the moment you sit inside it, and the moment you really start driving around and you know, playing around with the features. I mentioned a lot of these earlier, and you can, you know, rewind to check back what I said. But when it comes to the interior of the vehicle, very nice. The style, very nice. But it's in the drive that it kind of sets it apart. Because as an urban drive, like, you know, commuting to and from home, like in my case, my usual round trip is around anywhere between 25 to 30 kilometers, depending on where I'm going. But driving this around, it's very, very smooth. And of course, that being a hybrid, when you're in the city, you're mostly in the EV mode, meaning the engine can, you know, stay shut off, and then you cruise very, very quietly. You can actually creep up onto pedestrians, so you have to be a bit aware of that because it's so quiet in the city. So much so that you find that you have to kind of use the horn a bit. But one thing I found about the horn is that there's a little bit of a delay, a little bit of a lag. So when I press the button, like right now, there's like a split, maybe a half second of a delay before the horn actually activates. And it's actually weird. Another aspect though where this really excels is when it comes to the ride. Because when it comes to like, absorbing what our roads have to offer, I mean, right now we're on asphalt, so it's a little bit smoother, but it can be bumpy. But here, let me go over, let's say, this manhole cover. The ride is pretty good. Like here, another one. Let me see if I can hit it. Yeah, I intentionally go over manhole covers because that's how you really find out if it's comfortable or not for most of, you know, our city driving. And the shock absorption, the damping, it's actually quite good. Of course, that comes with the drawback that when you're driving on the highway or on a, let's say, a road where you want to be cornering, you know, a little bit faster, it's not gonna feel like super fantastic. It's not gonna be. It's a compromise. That's really the part that's, you know, compromised. When you soften the suspension up, you can feel it when you go on, let's say, the expressway, and then you know you have your undulations. You really feel it with this vehicle that when you hit the high point of the undulation, you kind of, it's not confidence inspiring. But if that's your route, if that's your daily route going on, let's say, NLEX, where you have the Candaba Viaduct, I think that's where that really happens most of the time, is that when you're cruising at around 100 and you hit those kinds of things, it's not fantastic. It's not a feeling that, you know, I particularly like. But when you're doing, you know, your urban thing, you're just driving to and from work, to and from, you know, church, the mall, whatever, supermarket, this is fantastic. It's going to be pretty comfortable, and it does a good job of keeping, you know, the cabin quiet. The really cool thing about this vehicle is the way they did the ADAS, or the advanced driver assist features on the vehicle. Of course, has the radar cruise control, the adaptive cruise control, has the low speed follow, has the lane keep thing, which is actually pretty nice. It works pretty well. Of course, that depends on the road markings actually present on the road that you're on. But what I like is when they do the traffic assist, or they call it TJA, I think. And then when you're driving around, it'll just maintain a distance to the vehicle ahead. Like right now, I'm not touching the accelerator. It's following the Montero Sport right in front of me, and it's just maintaining a nice gap. This is actually the closest gap it can maintain, so that's actually nice. If you're like tired after like a whole day at work, or if you've been driving, like, let's say, the whole day on NLEX, and then you come into EDSA and then you're like, oh my god, so much traffic, this will really come in handy. So right now, let's bump it up to around 40. Let's see if it, you know, tracks the road well. That's actually okay. This one is something. Let me bump up the speed a bit. Okay, let's do 50, the maximum speed, but it'll just adjust. I'm not touching the accelerator, by the way, so I hope it really works. I'm putting my my life in the hands of the system. And let's see, will it slow down for that vehicle? Yep, it's slowing down. Slowing down to 35. Yeah, that's nice. And then he moves out of the way, and then it'll start tracking the other one. Let's see, motorcycle coming into the front. Oh, it goes red. It senses it's close, but it doesn't panic brake, which is good. That's something that I actually look for in a system like this, because you know how it is when with these camera systems, with these radar cruise controls, you kind of hesitate, like when a motorcycle cuts in front of you, that what would it do? What would it do? Would it panic? Would it, you know, suddenly brake? This one, no, it kind of judged that the motorcycle was also moving at a fair bit of speed relative to me. So it's actually good. The really odd thing about this vehicle is the transmission, or at least the whole hybrid system, because like let's say the Corolla Cross hybrid, this one does have a series parallel system. But unlike the Corolla Cross hybrid, and many other hybrids actually, this one doesn't have a CVT. It has something called a DHT, and it's a 2-speed transmission, which is odd. That's something you don't really see too many in too many of the hybrids, at least, you know, until now. So when you're driving in city speeds like 40, 30, you're kind of in the low speed gear, one of the gears basically. And then when you get up to the higher speeds, that's when it switches over to the higher gear. But when you're really driving it along, it just comes together nicely. And when we're talking about fuel economy, that's where you really feel it. Because even in city driving, I'm getting around 13.5, and that's like really mostly my kind of traffic. So average speed of around 19 kilometers per hour, I was doing around 13.5, which is pretty good. A little bit higher speed, you get a much better, let's say, fuel economy for, let's say, around 22, doing around 14.5. So it really depends on what your average speed is. That's how the system works, the kind of numbers that you would get. And with a hybrid like this, it's really about offsetting the disadvantages of each kind of system. You know, it's like the engine, it works great at higher speeds, but the electric motor works so much better at lower speeds. And that's the kind of teamwork they're aiming for. You know, the teamwork makes the dream work. Each member of the team makes each other better, or at least compensates for the deficiencies in another. And that's what makes the whole thing really work. And you know, when we say best of both worlds, that's really what it means. Now, there are things, of course, that we think could be improved with this vehicle. Number one, I would say the seats, because the seats of this one, not fantastic. You know, like when you're just sitting down, let's say when I was doing my walk around talking about the features inside, the seats are, when you're actually driving, it's like it's kind of hard to get into a fully, you know, 100% comfortable position. I think GWM should study, let's say, what Mazda is doing when it comes to their ergonomics for particularly seats relative to the steering wheel, relative to basically everything else, because I don't know, that kind of fine-tuning would really work wonders for a vehicle like this, because again, the interior is already very nice. The steering, it's not really, you know, fantastic. It's not going to be sporty, but I wasn't expecting that anyway. But a good seat that kind of conforms to you, makes you feel, you know, like in Mazda speak, one with the horse, with the driver, like rider and horse as one, that kind of thing. That would really work wonders in a vehicle like this. And a couple other things. Well, Melody mentioned the horn delay. You know, by the time when I press the horn to react to one driver, it actually ends up beeping on another driver. So it's kind of weird. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall, it's actually a pretty solid vehicle. And to discuss more about what you can expect from this one, well, let's go back to the warehouse so we can talk about what the pricing is, and especially when it comes to after sales and parts supplies. So the Great Wall GWM Haval Jolion HEV Hybrid Electric Vehicle, that's a really long name, we'll just call it Jolion, whether it's an HEV or whatever. It's really a vehicle packed with a lot of potential. And that's because they really paid attention to the things we look for. Good designs, good interiors, actually rather flashy, nice interior, nice features, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. It's not going to be the best in terms of handling, but that's not really what we want for every day. We want something that's comfortable every day, that's quiet, that's smooth, that's very fuel efficient, and of course, that's very easy to own. That is something that the distributor of GWM here in the Philippines is really focusing on with their vehicles. So in terms of warranty, you've got a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer warranty. That is going to be actually very good for something like this. But also, we asked for the maintenance costs of the vehicle as well as the price of some of the parts. So when it comes to maintenance intervals, it's around 10,000 kilometers for the first checkup, and then it's 15,000 kilometers every checkup after that. So for the first 10,000 and then I think the first 40,000, you're looking at around 9,000 pesos thereabouts for the oil service. So that's actually pretty good. For the oil service plus, which is at around 25,000, then 55,000, so on and so forth, it's kind of alternating. It's around 11,000 plus, just a little bit over that. So it's very manageable cost, and that's only once a year, every 12 months or every 15,000 kilometers, which is actually a good thing. I also asked GWM for prices of common parts that may break or may get scuffed up that you may need replaced. For example, bumpers. To replace a bumper, it costs around 15,000 for the front bumper. I forgot to ask about the headlight. I will, and I'll show the supers there. Rear bumper is about 16,000 pesos. The sunroof, like there have been reports of some people with sunroofs that got smashed up. That costs around 20,000 for the sliding version, 15,000 for the non-sliding version. So depending on what car you actually have. And it's good that GWM is putting these costs up front. Of course, they'll change with exchange rates and inflation, but this focus on the availability of parts is something that's catching a lot of Chinese brands off guard. Because as you succeed when it comes to sales, your logistics for after sales will have to follow. It really needs to keep up, and actually it really should stay ahead of it. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you think of the GWM Haval Jolion Hybrid Electric Vehicle. Woo! In the comments below. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching.